And when you take a look at the this drawing right here, there's patterns that are in there. That's called hatching. All right, the straight lines for the siding, that's one kind of hatch pattern. Then there's another hatch pattern for the roof, and that for the shingles, and there's another hatch pattern for the chimney, okay? There you go. And so we'll go ahead and look at that. Let's have some toner on my plans. We'll fix that. Okay, so let's talk about how this works, okay? So first of all, I'm going to turn off a couple lights here, and we're going to get down to this, and we're going to figure this out. So I've got this going on right now, and I've got a few things that I want to work on. One of the things I want to do here is I'm going to open up the actual drawing, and the actual drawing, which drawings that I'm working on today, is, okay, open a drawing, and this one I think is on the desktop. Hope it is. So that means, let's see if it's someplace. No, that's not it. Oh, thanks. That's not there. But the I think I see it up here. Let's see here. There we go. All right. So okay. So this is what it looks like. Okay, this is the actual drawing that you guys are going to work at, and you'll notice that as you draw it, what's going to happen is it's going to look basically like this. Now, there's a few things that I did to give it this kind of punchy look. Okay, first of all, let's take a look at what I did with layers. If I take a look at the layers right now, I see there's quite a few here. So let's take a deeper look. Let's do a little bit unpacking here, find out what's going on here with the layers, just so we understand what's happening. So as I do this, and if I go ahead and maximize all my columns here, I've got different features in here. I started with my wall line, but I could have used another line, and so we can move it to that if we want to. Notice that there is a layer here called profile, and notice that it has actually a line weight here, 0.30 millimeters. That means it's thick. That means it's got a thickness to it. Now guess what that is? It's this one right here, okay? So if I click on there, it says it's on the profile there. So if we draw that, so what I would do is I pretty much want to use that. And one thing just to kind of like, just to show you how this works, the line weight icon is down here. If it's turned off, you won't see the line weights, but if you click it on, you will see it. And it's just to help you keep your drawing under control. So that's one thing that's going on right there. So first of all, there is a profile that I used right here to draw this, okay? Because once again, it's an elevation, so that's the line that I used for that. So we can see that it does have a thickness. If you don't see the thickness, you need to make sure that first of all, that line weight has been selected, there's a check in it, and then you also have it on over here. So we've got that. Now, so that's one thing. Now the next thing, I've already set up a dimension style for you. So if you are to start to put in dimensions here, and for this one I use detailed dimensions, then I got dimensions. I'm just going to use dimensions right here. And if I use dimensions, and if I go from here to here, we see that that looks pretty good. Okay? So that is, we're good to go on that. So no real complaints about that. And so we do have a dimension layer, and we do have a profile layer, and then I've got a hatching layer. So let's see what the hatching layer, what's going on with that. So I go to my hatching layer. Oh, by the way, one really cool thing here is if you want to kind of like just look at one bit of information in AutoCAD, you can use up here, there is a tool called Isolate. And you can say, okay, you know what, I want to isolate just this. And when you click on it, it allows you to isolate that. So you're only seeing that information. So it says, oh, okay, that's cool, I'm just seeing this now. And then when you've done isolating, you unisolate it. So that's just one way to kind of say, hey, I just want to pay attention to this right now. So if I double click on this siding, okay, if I double click on it, you're going to notice something about it. First of all, quick properties comes up, and I don't really want that. So let me turn up my quick properties. Where's quick properties? I don't really want that on, so I'll turn that off. Okay, so if I go to here, and if I have this going right now, and I right click and I go to properties, and that's how you get into properties for anything. You select it and right click it. You see your properties. Now, let's study it. What's going on right now? With our properties right now, what layer is it on? What layer is this siding on? It's on the hatching layer, and it's a hatch element. So it's hatch, It's on the hatching layer. And then if I go down here, it gives me some information. The pattern name is ANSI 31. Have you ever heard of ANSI before? Anyone ever heard of that?
Yeah.
Okay, what's it? What, you know what it stands for?
American National Safety Institute.
American National Standards Institute.
Standards.
Yeah, ANSI. So anything that's ANSI means that a bunch of people in Washington, D.C. have approved it. That's what it's saying. So this is ANSI 31, which I don't know if that gives you a warm fuzzy or not. I don't know. But anyway, that's how it works. The angle is 135 degrees. The scale is 48. And then I gave it an origin. Okay, origin means I told to start at the lower left corner so that the siding isn't just starting randomly, but it's starting at the bottom left. Okay, so that's still a little bit of information. And another really cool thing about hatch is that if you have an area that's hatched, it'll tell you what the size is. So that's actually 602 square feet. So what this means is if you actually wanted to get a table off of how much siding you would need for a project, you could simply use this. And that would tell you how much siding you would need. Or let's say Tyvek wrap or insulation, whatever it might be. That's how you could get it. So that being the case, you'll notice that when I double click or just single click on my hatch, this ribbon, dedicated hatch ribbon comes up. And what it does, it replaces my regular ribbon and brings this up, saying, okay, you want to do something with your hatch. Now let's notice what's going on here. If I go to this, it tells me what kind of hatch pattern I have. And what do we see here? ANSI 31. Okay, ANSI 31 is a diagonal pattern. Well, what I did with this right here is I used that, and then I went ahead and made it 135 degrees, and I gave it a hatch pattern scale of 48. So I've got that going on right now. So those are the basics that I have going on. And that is on the sheet I just gave you. That's how that would work. So let me give you an idea how this would go down. So if I'm down here and I want to hatch in this area right now, I would go to my hatching layer, just to keep things neat, and then I would start my hatch command. Your hatch command is right here. Your hatch command is on your draw panel and looks here. I wish I had a pointer. I wish there was some kind of pointer. But anyway, you get the idea. So I click on here and I go to hatch. You can just type the letter H2. The letter H will start it. Now, notice that the hatch window comes up. And so right now, it's saying, okay, right now it's going to have a hatch layer. And if I go ahead and just pick a point right now, it's going to find a boundary and fill that area with hatch. If I go here, it filled it. Now that is that looks like a solid, doesn't it? But let's zoom in and find out if it really is. No, it's not. It is a very densely packed bunch of lines. So it's so dense that it looks like it is actually a solid, but it's not. So if we go back to here, what do we say that we said that our scale had to be what? 48. So we go to 48, boom. Looks a lot better, doesn't it? And then our angle is troubling. Okay, that's not how we want it to be. What's our angle supposed to be? 135. So we go to 135. Let's see what we get here. Boom. Now we have a respectable looking siding right there. So that is how hatch works. And once you've got it in there, hatch is all one unit. All these lines are now together. They say, hey, you know, we're together and we'll always be together. Okay, and that's or something like that, however hatch speaks. And then the last thing we have is down here.